We stay in Venezuela. President Nicolás Maduro warned in his Telegram social media account that the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela is irrevocably free and independent. The Venezuelan leader stated, "We have bad news for those who expect us to renounce our historical rights, independence, freedom and sovereignty. Territorial integrity is an inalienable right, explicit in our constitution under the doctrine of Bolivar." Also on December 19th, the Professional Staff Congress Delegate Assembly voted to pass a resolution repudiating the U.S. military aggressions against Venezuela. They also declared the beginning of actions to consolidate union alliances against the U.S. interventionism. The resolution states the demonization of Venezuela and other Latin American countries in mainstream U.S. media inflames xenophobic and racist narratives long used to justify interventions in the hemisphere. And such narratives directly impact CUNY's students and workers, many of whom are immigrants from Latin America and the Caribbean. It also adds, since the 19th century, the Monroe Doctrine has served as a justification for repeated U.S. political, military, and economic interventions across Latin America and the Caribbean, undermining governments, social movements, and trade unions committed to working class struggles, resulting in repression, military coups, sanctions, and also widespread killings of civilians, workers, and their organizations. Furthermore, U.S. militarization in the Caribbean carried out even as federal aid is slashed, benefits are cut, Affordable Care Act premiums are set to rise, and public resources are clawed back from New York City, diverse desperately needed funds from education, healthcare, housing, infrastructure, and other social needs. The PSC opposes any U.S. military intervention, coercive action, or aggression against Venezuela and any regional expansion of the conflict. Finally, the PSC will bring this resolution forward for consideration by our state affiliate NYSUT and our national affiliate, the AFT, in order to help build a broad labor movement that opposes U.S. intervention in Venezuela and supports sovereignty, peace, and international law in the Americas. And also, the Attorney General's Office of Honduras filed a writ of habeas corpus for unknown whereabouts and possible unlawful detention of Ana Paola Hol Garcia and Cosette Alejandra Lopez, members of the National Electoral Council. In a statement, the Honduran Attorney General's Office specified the purpose of the action brought is for the competent judicial body to immediately and directly verify the personal situation of the councillors mentioned in order to guarantee the effective protection of their fundamental rights to freedom, integrity, and life, which the Constitution recognizes as the supreme goals of society and the state, and concludes with following: the Attorney General's Office of the Republic reiterates its commitment to act in strict accordance with the Constitution, the law, and international human rights treaties, affirming that it will be attentive to the processing of the action brought before the Constitutional Chamber, as well as to the results of the proceedings that are ordered, which should provide certainty both to the persons involved and to the citizens in general. And Tianjin is one of the 4 municipalities directly administered by the central government of China. Located in the north of the country near the capital Beijing, at the mouth of the Hai River on the East China Sea, our correspondent in China, Bruno Falsi, is there and is bringing us the first of his reports on the city's heritage.
Tianjin is a city of great historical, economic, and cultural significance. It was founded as a port city during the Ming Dynasty in the 14th century. Among the city's highlights is the famous Pingzhu Theater. We spoke with the theater's current director and lead actress, who has received numerous national awards.
呢，我们就汇聚了一大批的这个评剧。
Pingyu Theater has played a very important role in the cultural history of our city and all of China, and Tianjin has been central to the geographical development and popularization of this theatrical style. The defining characteristics of Pingyu is its dynamism and its connection to everyday life, something that inspires me to keep it alive while simultaneously innovating. The Tianjin Pingyu Theater has cultivated great artists and produced landmark works that have received the most prestigious national awards. Today, young talents continue this tradition, ensuring that Pingyu remains popular, relevant, and appreciated throughout the country.
Zhang's influence makes her the most representative figure in Pingju today, and her leadership guarantees the theater continuity and modernization. Pingju combines singing, acting, dance, and music, and is known for its expressive narratives that closely reflect everyday life. Tianjin's rich cultural heritage encompasses diverse artistic expressions, with stages dedicated to performance of music with traditional instruments and Chinese comedy performance. These are reflections of how a country looking toward modernity and the future doesn't forget its traditions.
Tianjin has a very colorful and also diversified culture development, and with different forms of the folk arts like Pingju theater, as well as the stage drama imported from overseas countries in modern times, as well as some other folk arts like the clipping talk or standing cross talk, etc. So Tianjin, I think, has the highlight of balance, the balance of tradition and modernization, and the balance of the folk art and also the modern cultures, and also the balance of the people's lifestyle, which is quite relaxing.
The city also stands out for the preservation of its historical heritage, where streets, shops, and traditional Chinese buildings showcase the richness of a continuous civilization, the oldest in the world. Bruno Falsi, Tianjin, China, for teleSUR.
Thank you, Deputy. There is no one else at the right to speak. We will close. It is closed. When you hear again of the birthplace of democracy and the Western democracy that is the most modern of the world and that respects the international rights of the people, please do not let yourselves be told that it's the US. The heirs of Sir Francis Drake, known as given the name of a horseman by the Queen of England just by being a courser. We are in the presence of the same practices. That is why it was said that the US is an empire that moved from a place, the same empire, the same practices, the same barbarism, the same crime. These people of Venezuela, with decency and with dignity, are going to respond to all of the aggressions, and it's going to win. Do not have a doubt on it. In consideration, the honorable deputies that are in favor of approving the first discussion of the project of law to guarantee the freedom of commerce and navigation, facing piracy, blockades, and other illicit international acts in conformity with what is established in the Article 104 of the Interior Norms and Debates, due with the sign of Constitution. It has been approved by unanimity. Thank you, deputies. Please, Secretary, go to the commission that corresponds the established commission with the next commission's interior political integration and sovereignty, finance and development of the nation, and security and defense of the nation of the Assembly, the National Assembly, at the effect to do fastly and quickly the corresponding consultation to bring the second discussion, and I'm going to tell you when it is. The next exhausted the matter, President. Having no more points to discuss, the session has been resumed.
Information, we are live at this moment to Venezuela, listening to statements from the President of the National Assembly of this legislative institution. And the government of Mexico announces a justice plan for the miners of the city of Cananea following the end of more than 18 years of strike. The President of Mexico, Claudia Sheinbaum, added that Grupo México agreed to carry out remediation works in response to the contamination of the Sonora River. The head of state indicated that a support plan accepted by the workers will be announced in order to lift the strike that has been in place since 2007. The Mexican president emphasized that this justice plan benefits all workers in Cananea, noting that this Tuesday all the projects to address the damage caused to the Sonora River will be presented.
A very important agreement has been reached for the Cananea Justice Plan. After years of strikes, the workers of the Cananea have decided to end the strike through compensation support for all workers. This is a historic moment for Sonora. At the same time, tomorrow in Sonora, I can tell you in advance, there will be an announcement about all the compensation work for the contamination
sobre todas las obras de resarcimiento por la contaminación del río Sonora.
Of the Sonora River, after the Mexico group did not want to finish all the work that was necessary, and the Secretary Rosicel has been very important in her work and that of the governor.
Rosicel ha sido muy importante su trabajo y del gobernador.
And Secretary Alicia Bárcenas, because tomorrow it will be announced that practically all the demands made by the community will be met.
In this scenario, Mexican President Claudia Sheinbaum also explained that they worked with the governors of North Mexico to fulfill the 1994 water payment agreement with the United States.
Sí, se trabajó con todos los gobernadores.
We worked with all the governors and sought a plan to minimize the impact on farmers throughout the country, particularly in the states of Chihuahua, Coahuila, Nuevo León, and Tamaulipas.
Nuevo León y Tamaulipas. Chihuahua, Coahuila, Nuevo León y Tamaulipas.
We then sought to obtain water from other basins to address the water debt. Everyone agreed, and this will allow us to minimize the impact.
Pues atender el tema del adeudo de agua. Todos estuvieron de acuerdo y eso nos va a permitir pues que la afectación sea mínima.
There is practically no impact on farmers in northern Mexico. I believe it was a good agreement.
Creo que fue un buen acuerdo.
On the other hand, the Mexican president affirmed that regardless of the political party, the federal government has always provided support to Cuba in the oil sector.
It's important to be known that agreements have been made on the subject of oil by all governments, regardless of their political party, because otherwise it could be seen as if we were the only one. First, we are doing it within a legal framework as a sovereign country. And second, we are just continuing a series of support that our country has historically given to Cuba. In 1994, during the special period in Cuba, a $350 million investment was formalized for the modernization of the Cienfuegos refinery, a strategic swap operation exchanging debt for investment.
In this context as well, opposition protests in front of the National Electoral Council are demanding electoral transparency and denouncing irregularities. Leaders and supporters of the Liberal Party gathered in front of the National Electoral Council in Tegucigalpa to demand a vote-by-vote recount and denounce electoral fraud in the recent Honduran elections. The protest highlights the profound crisis of credibility that electoral institutions in Honduras are facing and the lack of transparency in democratic processes. This mobilization joins the popular struggles across Latin America seeking to democratize political systems and defend the sovereignty of the popular vote. We stay in Venezuela. President Nicolás Maduro warned in his Telegram social media account that the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela is irrevocably free and independent. The Venezuela leader stated, "We have bad news for those who expect us to renounce our historical